Analysts expect India to retain its position as the world's fastest-growing major economy this year. Factors including government spending are helping to drive this growth. But higher costs remain a concern for business owners, with the country preparing to release fresh inflation data tomorrow. Bundhun reports from Mumbai.
Aftab Ansari has run this popular food joint in Mumbai's suburbs for more than 20 years. He's glad that India's economy is back in full swing following the pandemic. But while Mr. Ansari is hopeful that business will be strong this year too, he's worried about inflation, as India's CPI hovered above 4.25% in 2023.
इससे ज़्यादा और महंगा ना हो, बाकी और महंगाई बढ़ता रहेगा तो कस्टमर्स अपने आप कम होंगे, बिजनेस कम हो जाएंगे.
India is a consumption-driven economy, and while it is benefiting from rising incomes in the world's most populous country, the World Bank warns that consumer spending growth could taper off as the post-pandemic pent-up demand effect wears off. And as food inflation remains stubbornly high, spending among low-income households in particular could be constrained. Economists polled say they are expecting headline inflation to remain above 4% until March and average 4.8% from April on. But their overall forecast points to a rosy outlook for India's growth, even as the World Bank warns in its latest report that the global economy is set for the worst 5 years of GDP growth in 30 years. The World Bank says it expects India to hold on to its position as the fastest-growing major economy globally in 2024. It's forecasting growth of 6.4% in the next financial year, starting this April, up from an estimated 6.3% in the current financial year. The Washington-based lender says this growth will be boosted by public investment and improved corporate balance sheets. Financial experts, including Amar Ambani at Yes Securities, remain bullish too on the outlook for India's economic growth.
I'm pretty confident, and my guess is that we'll be anywhere at around 7% or even slightly higher if everything goes well globally as well. So I think it'll surprise the consensus, which is much lower. And there are many factors that are driving. See, primarily the robustness is getting built one, because there are so many cylinders firing. It's not just the economy is running on one cylinder.
He says these include India's digitisation efforts and capital expenditure by the government. But exports could be hampered amid a weak global environment, he adds. India is also holding a general election in a few months' time, posing another risk factor. However, recent state elections suggest that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's party, the BJP, remains popular, and expectations are that he will win a third term, which analysts say will help with policy continuity. Homegrown electronics brand Analysts says it has benefited from Mr. Modi's Make in India initiative, aimed at promoting domestic manufacturing. And the company says it plans to open a new factory in the south of the country in the next 6 months, as it aims to double its revenues in 2024 on last year.
Buying capacity of Indian consumer is increasing overall, if I would say. And the second thing which I always insist on is the international business. Now, India is being looked at as the alternate supplier of all the IT, consumer durable manufacturers for the rest of the world.
Overall, economic growth in the larger South Asia area looks set to be the fastest pace among all emerging market and developing economy regions in 2024. India itself appears to be a bright spot against a relatively gloomy global backdrop. But economists are tempering any optimism with reminders of continued risk factors, such as extreme weather and economic pressures unleashed by the war in the Middle East and the continuing conflict in Ukraine. Bundhun, CNA, Mumbai.